You might initially look at the title of this video and feel a bit confused. You can't have more than 100 cards in your deck. This is technically not true actually, since companions don't count towards your deck, so you can get 101 cards in Commander. But that's not what this video is about. That's a separate issue. I'm talking about slots, as in what slots a card fits into, like how Blasphemous Act takes the board wipe slot in your deck. Very often when I talk to people about playing more removal or more graveyard hate, check out my video here, they say, oh, I don't have enough space in my deck for all of these slots. But there's a way to get more. Let's look at my Tawanos deck. In this deck, I have 37 lands, 10 ramp spells, 2 board wipes, let's say 3 and count the portal, 12 spot removal cards, 9 pieces of card advantage, 7 tutors, 6 pieces of recursion, 4 dedicated finishers, 1 piece of graveyard hate, 2 pieces of artifact protection, and 30 cards dedicated to my theme of baubles/small artifacts, for a grand total of 121. And I didn't even include every category that could possibly be included. Some cards aren't even accounted for in this 121. But the deck only has 100 cards, so how is this possible? The way it works is that many cards in the deck fit multiple slots. When I see a lot of people complain that they don't have room for things like removal, ramp, card draw, because they need to fill up their deck with on-theme cards, this assumption is based on the idea that only one card fits every slot. But this simply isn't true. Let's look at this deck. If you want to learn more about my Tawanos deck, I made a whole dedicated video, but in short, this deck has Salvaging Station as a hidden commander and uses baubles, small artifacts that sacrifice themselves, to get value over time. So a card like Aether Spellbomb is perfect here. The Spellbomb is the ideal removal for my deck. It's a bauble that can be recurred with Salvaging Station, and it's an artifact, so its ability can be copied with my commander's ability. It can also be searched up with my bauble-specific tutors. Let's take another card as an example, Confirmed Suspicions. This is a 5-mana counterspell that creates clues. Normally this card is pretty bad. Holding up 5 mana is rather annoying, and 3 clues is not that useful. But here it works great. My deck is full of instant speed activated abilities, so I'm oftentimes holding up mana anyway. The clues can have their activated ability copied by Tawanos, so I can draw 2 cards for 4 mana, which might seem bad, but this deck is a very grindy control deck, so I do this pretty often. Also, just having small artifacts in play works well with cards like Goblin Welder or Trash for Treasure, so I can sacrifice those clues to bring back real artifacts. Last example for the deck, Inventor's Fair. This is an incredible card that will gain your life over time, but is also a tutor for artifacts. I think a lot of artifact decks play this card. It's not an unknown thing, but I wanted to include it to remind people that the land slots in your deck have a lot of power and utility you can use to fill up more slots, especially with MDFC or channel lands. Very often, those can count as removal or card draw in addition to being a land. So next time you're building a deck and looking for removal, card draw, ramp, whatever it is, try to find some within your theme. This can take some searching though, so I'll throw a few your way for a few popular themes to try out. I know I already talked about artifacts earlier, but Executioner's Capsule and Dispeller's Capsule are great removal for artifact decks. For +1/+1 counter decks, Retribution of the Ancients can act as removal, and Primal Empathy can draw you cards or put counters on creatures. If you're playing a token deck,
Camaraderie.
Oh, that's how you spell it? Am I stupid? If you're playing a token deck, then Camaraderie can draw you a ton of cards and works well with your theme. For board wipes, Martial Coup is a very great option for token decks, letting you clear the board and make an army. There are hundreds of examples of cards that can work as removal, card draw, graveyard hate, whatever, and also fit a theme that you are working towards. So if you're worried you can't fit Disenchant or Chaos Warp in your deck because you want more on-theme cards, try to find some on-theme cards that do what those cards do. You should not be cutting back on removal, card draw, or ramp. It's going to make your deck just not function nearly as well. Play more removal. Trust me, it's easier than you think. This is just how I build decks though, and I know lots of people build decks in different ways. So if you think differently, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so very much for watching. Subscribe for more.